why y'all standing around?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Y'all want to die, or y'all gonna get us food or not? Like, what's the problem? Y'all looking at each other. Y'all all grown. Figure it out. I shouldn't have to tell you.
That is crazy.
That's how parents talk to their grown kids.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
It is. It is.
Like, I shouldn't have to keep telling you the same thing. You should
Yep.
know what to do.
What is going on, XYZers?
Hey.
Hold on, let's try that again.
Not enough energy.
y'all trying to bring the what is going on, XYZers?
I can take y'all serious.
Oh man, what's up, XYZ Nation? We are glad to be before you once again.
Mm-hmm.
I am the Latchkey One himself.
Oh god,
Latchkey?
The Latchkey One.
No more X-Men?
no more X-Men.
I kind of like the Latchkey thing.
Okay.
It's yeah.
I can get with it.
The Latchkey one. I don't know.
You said it good the first time. I
did.
messed you up. Sorry.
Yeah.
good. I mean, that's a valid question because we did talk about X-Men, but yeah, I think I like the Latchkey one. Yeah,
I don't get the reference.
Latchkey kids. So when we were younger,
Mm.
the Gen X, a lot of us didn't have babysitters, so we were given keys to hang around our neck on shoestrings or those little silver beaded things, and you were to get off the bus or however walk home, and you would be home by yourself until your parents got home.
Gotcha.
So we were the latchkey kids, and I'm sure that still happens today, but I'm not
don't
sure
think
if
it still happens today.
No?
In maybe millennials, we did a little bit because I know we stayed home by ourselves, or my
Right.
mom would be like, lock the door, don't open the door for
Yep,
nobody.
exactly.
Yeah, we did that, but I would not be doing that with my children. And I don't think a lot of people are doing it anymore.
I think so. So my mom did it with us, but it was like she refused to give us a key. So she never gave us a key because she was nervous that we would lose it and somebody would take it.
I
So-
lost plenty of keys.
And I was like, Mom, how all my friends had keys to their house. They all walked home. So I was like, you gonna send me home? We have a garage though. She gave me a code to the garage. So I was like, okay, but if I can't get into the garage, I can't get in the house.
Mhm.
And you don't trust me with the key, and all my friends have a key. I was so jealous. And I got a key when I turned, I think, 19.
Oh wow.
That's
I never had a key to the house until I was much, much, much older.
Wow.
Yeah. But she would leave us home. Just go through the garage.
So
I think it's also the age, because if you're 13, yeah, but they were doing it for 5, 6 little kids. Like at 6, I was by myself at home with my brothers, and it was a lot of us. They were little,
right.
So yeah, close the door, don't open it till I come back, because
6.
I'm not taking all of y'all with me.
I will be the Latchkey One.
Oh, that was the intro.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
we haven't got past the intro yet.
Oh, wow.
And then next to me, we have from Gen Y, the millennial herself.
Woo, woo, woo. Maya, resident millennial.
Resident millennial. I like that.
Chris is not gonna get over the fact that I'm not gonna be hype. I am not that hype of a person.
I know, but okay. Yes,
You gotta
But
catch me
you-
in a
at
different
least-
environment, maybe.
that's what I'm trying to. I'm trying to create that environment so you can be
Like,
like,
woo!
yeah, the resident millennial is in the building. But
Hype
you
version
just
of me
not
doesn't
doing
do that. Hype version of me does different things that we don't need to see on these podcasts.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so moving on. And next to her, we've got our Gen Z,
The microwaver.
the microwaver herself.
Yes.
Where's her hype?
I always
killed the
have
vibe.
hype.
Nah, I killed the
I
vibe.
always have the hype. I be trying to tone my hype down.
Oh, jeez. You all are awesome. Have I said that enough?
You're equally as awesome.
Oh, man. So today we're looking at chapter 42 of
Yes.
Genesis. And the title is Reunited, and it feels so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll see why in a moment. Family reunions. Do y'all go to your family reunions every year?
Mm-mm.
I don't either.
No.
I do not.
I think my family might do reunions in Nigeria or like gatherings and things, but we aren't there, so we don't participate. And we don't have, like, I've talked to my cousins about doing things, the ones that are in America, like we should do things and meet up, but everybody got their own beef and issues, and it's not even worth it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When's the last time you've been to a family reunion, Jasmine?
10 years ago.
Okay.
And it was not even my family. It was my extended. It was like and we're not even blood. It was my godmother's family, and she really considered us her kids. She didn't have any kids, so like my mom and her brothers were her kids, and we were her grandkids. So like we would go to her stuff. But my family, I cannot imagine what a family reunion would be like, because all families are dysfunctional in their own way, but we're very dysfunctional. I would be so nervous because I'm the harmonious one. I want everybody to get along. Let's talk it out. Let's work it out. And they want to argue, and I don't got time for it. So,
That's not bad. I mean, we all cousins, right?
Right.
Isn't that what they say?
We're all related.
Poetic justice. We all cousins. We, just pull up to the cookout. So again, today we're looking at chapter 42 of Genesis. As I mentioned before, we get to see Joseph and the reunion with part of his family. Not his whole family, but part of his family. All right.
So quite the dysfunctional reunion, if I would say so myself.
Yeah. That's what we'll get a chance to look into. So
I can start.
Yes, please.
Okay, so this is Genesis 42, verse 1 through 5. Okay. When Jacob learned that there were grains for sale in Egypt, he said to his sons, "Why do you look at one another?" And he said, "Behold, I have heard that there is grain for sale in Egypt. Go down and buy grain for us there, that we may live and not die." So 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain in Egypt. But Jacob did not send Benjamin, Joseph's brother, with his brothers, for he feared that harm might happen to him. Thus the sons of Israel came to buy among the others who came, for the famine was in the land of Canaan.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
The famine. All right. So did anybody read into this like I did, the way that Jacob talked to his sons?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. He's like, y'all are not about to this, because, and I didn't really think super deep into it until I had to read some more commentaries, but he had 2 sons from Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
One is gone.
Yep.
Right? Y'all not taking my other one.
Y'all not taking
y'all not gonna, no, absolutely not. Y'all, the rest of y'all go ahead, and I'm gonna leave this one gonna stay with me.
Mm-hmm.
He also was like, "Why y'all standing around?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Y'all want to die, or y'all gonna get us food or not? Like, what's the problem? Y'all looking at each other. Y'all all grown. Figure it out. I shouldn't have to tell you."
That is crazy.
That's how parents talk to their grown kids.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
It is. It is.
Like, I shouldn't have to keep telling you the same thing. You should know what to do.
Bruh, what are you doing right now? Are you serious?
Yeah, I kind of can hear
like,
my
if
mom.
I heard it, y'all heard it.
Mm-hmm.
We all heard the same thing. Why y'all sitting around?
You're looking at me. What you looking at me for?
Man.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that you see is Jacob is still in charge, right?
Mm.
It's almost like no one is I don't want to say, I don't know. We don't know if they stepped up, but it does give, just like you said, the idea that they're just like sort of like, hey, yeah, we're hungry, but
No, well,
guess
we'll figure it out.
That's just crazy to me.
And I would imagine at this point they all have families.
Yeah.
So really, you have your own family. Why are you standing here and looking?
Right.
And I saw some commentaries saying that yes, they knew there was food, but they also knew that they sold Joseph to Egypt. So is there any connection there? And that could be a reach, because Egypt is not a small place.
Right.
You wouldn't expect to run into him because you went.
Yeah.
So to me, that didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But again, then what's the reason that y'all are just sitting here?
Thank you. Exactly. Because I heard the same thing, and because of some things that happened later in the chapter, I'm not sure I can buy that either.
Yeah.
That they knew where Joseph was, so they knew that he had gone into Egypt.
Yeah, it doesn't like, it's a reach. It's one of those.
Yeah.
All of Egypt, I'm gonna run into this boy,
right?
Or somebody's gonna connect me to them, unless they're thinking, yeah, no, I just can't.
Yeah. So I try to give grace in those areas, but I'm like, I can't see it. This is like in these verses. I think the other thing that stood out to me was Jacob learned, and and he said, "Behold," or "Lo, I have heard," and I've heard some commentaries talk about that as seeing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you all have picked on it, but I've sort of seen the seeing theme throughout our reading, right? Yeah. It hasn't been like in our faces as much as Providence, but there's a lot of seeing. I see Joseph from far away as he's coming. I see why am I messing up her name? Judah Tamar sitting at the road of Enaim, and Enaim is a play on eyes, right? And she looks like a prostitute. I'm seeing these things, and so it's just like this whole underlying current, I think, of just seeing things. And I think we'll even see some of that as we go through as well.
Yeah, I read on that, and I thought that I was gonna mention that as one of the reach things, because I wasn't sure when I was going through, because there was both commentaries I read said that like his sons have accused him of like not having foresight. He's older, he's nearly blind, but we keep seeing this like seeing, or them alluding to seeing. And so it's talked about he's seen as lacking vision or foresight, but is there something that we're missing here? We're supposed to be picking up, as like the text keeps saying, that he is aware, if not like actual seeing, but like aware of certain things in certain situations. And I was like, I don't know. Are we reading too deep into that? I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what to take away from it, and it may come out further as we go through, but I just have noticed that there are a lot of, even Potiphar's wife, she all of a sudden saw.
Right, yeah.
Joseph. I don't know what I was going to say. It's some J name that was going to, and it's crazy because on my wife's side, all of the sons are named with J. So
you're just gonna pull something out.
I was gonna pull some J out. But even in seeing him, it's like one day she looked up and she saw him. It's just like there's this undercurrent that seems to be running through with seeing and eyes, and I'm not sure what it's trying to tell us, but I just see it there. Anything else from those couple of verses? We get reintroduced to the family. We touched on the fact that Benjamin is being held back from going. Why is he being held back?
That's his youngest boy, and he is the second with Rachel.
Yep.
Yeah. Y'all ain't taking him.
Yeah, he doesn't want anything to happen to him.
No harm. It's almost like and I was toying with it. Do you think he's taken the place of Joseph?
I think so, to some degree. Like when we originally talked about Benjamin, I don't know what chapter, we talked about how there may be some resentment towards him because of the mom passing, right? And now it's like, well, you all I got left, so
right. That was my take too. Like it wasn't the youngest, it was the second youngest, because Benjamin was associated with Rachel's death, right? I think she wanted to name him Ben-Oni, son of whatever Oni means, right? And he changed his name to Benjamin, he being Jacob. But now, if that's the one that he truly loved and he worked 14 years for, this is all he has left of her, right? I think I wrote down he's suffering from PTSD type of thing. Right? It's like, did something happen to my favorite that was associated with Rachel, and nothing can happen to my last piece of Rachel that I have to hold dear to.
Yeah, for sure. I did not equate him keeping Benjamin behind with Benjamin. I thought it was more of Rachel. Like, this has nothing to do with you, all to do with her, because that's who he really, really, really wanted. So like, if I don't have either one of you, then I really don't have her anymore. You know?
Yeah. Man, this family. Genesis 42, 6 through 9. Did you mind reading that, Moyo?
Yep. All right, so verse 6 through 9. Now Joseph was governor over the land. He was the one who sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brothers came and bowed themselves before him with their faces to the ground. Joseph saw his brothers and recognized them, but he treated them like strangers and spoke roughly to them. "Where do you come from?" he said. They said, "From the land of Canaan to buy food." And Joseph recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him. And Joseph remembered the dreams that he had dreamed of them. And he said to them, "You are spies. You have come to see the nakedness of the land."
Awesome. Thanks. It's a weird place to stop, but I think there's some things in here, in these just 4 verses, that are interesting to point out. Where's Joseph now?
Man is at the top.
Started from the bottom. Now we're here. Started from the bottom. And so, okay, let's calm down. So yeah, and we get that sort of reintroduced, doubled down on, so to speak, right? He's the governor. Mm-hmm. And then he's also the one who's responsible for the grain, which is why Pharaoh promoted him and made him governor of the land, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So we see like the 2 offices, right? Well, just think, I'm coming in from outside, and this is coming to me now. I'm coming in from outside. I'm trying to think of this from the brother's view, right? Coming in from outside. This guy is obviously some high-ranking official in Egypt, right? Mm-hmm. Whoever I'm coming to. And he's responsible for selling the grain that I need to live. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's like they're coming in, and he's got 2 positions that demand respect. One from just a position standpoint of office, and the other in just the fact that I need to work with you so that I can live. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. And so it makes me think the brother's reaction to seeing him makes sense, right? Because what did they do? They bowed themselves. Mm-hmm.
So back to his dream finally kind of coming true now.
Yeah.
He said, "You guys will bow to me." Well, he didn't say that. He said the stalks bowed and these bowed, the sun and the moon and the stars bowed. Mm-hmm. And now we're here and it's happening.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, remember that dream I had?" Mm-hmm. Joseph, I'm always surprised at his reactions to things. Because let it be me. I wouldn't be able to keep calm right now. Like, I would be like, not these people coming to get food from me. I would be, bruh, y'all wouldn't get nothing, first of all. And he just, I mean, as we go, we see how he shows them favor.
Yeah.
But and there's slight, like a little slight pettiness, but it's not the level of petty Joseph needs to have. Like, bro,
he said he should have more.
Yes, it's not enough. He's just keeping calm right now. I wonder, and I know later on you kind of see the change, and he doesn't keep calm for a moment. But in this scenario, he like his wheels are turning. Like, this is them. Oh my goodness. He probably have been thinking, will I ever see them again? And now they're standing in front of you. And you're able to he's treating them as strangers, but how do you even do that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't know if I could do it.
Yeah, that's crazy to me too. I don't know about you all, but I kept looking at this and reading through it and like, is there a reason Joseph is doing the things that he's doing? And I think I picked up a couple. And I think we'll get to those later. But when I first read these verses, and it's like, why are you accusing them, right? Mm-hmm. Why are you accusing them of being spies? What does that gain you right now, mm-hmm. Joseph? And so I find myself thinking and like wondering what's happening here. Why is he doing these things? Is it just to be? Is it his level of pettiness? Well, right? Is it his anger working out?
But he was accused of being a spy in early on, and I'm just now thinking about that. They thought that he was being a snitch.
Yeah. I mean, he was.
He was. Yeah, that's true. But when I saw I read a commentary that said, "Oh yeah, he was a spy," and I was like, "What? That don't make any sense." But now I'm thinking, like, yeah, exactly what he was accused of, he is doing. He's flipping it back on them. And when I was seeing that, and we'll see it more later, I was like, Joseph, what are we doing right now? I'm appalled. The behavior, because I thought, knowing his relationship with God, he would just have shown them favor, like not straight away. Like you wouldn't see this accusation. And I was,
are you the good one and I'm the bad one?
I know I always give him the benefit of the doubt because I'm looking at him like,
boy, do more.
I was just like, I don't know. I was like, is there a reason? God has to be working something out right here, because otherwise, like, I feel like that's not right for you to do unto others as they've done unto you. You're supposed to do the opposite, I thought. But we'll see a little bit more later. But still, I was like, okay, I see. He was accused. He's accusing them. All right, I got the connection. But it seems weird to me.
Yeah. I mean, I also think that it would be normal for people to come and spy on their land because they're doing so well in this famine. So I read some commentaries where they said it wasn't a strange accusation. Like, people would come in groves and they could be accused and thrown in jail. So if he's saying it out loud to them, it could be, we have other people here, because I can't just take them and throw them in jail if I wanted to. So I need to have a reason that I'm saying something to them.
Yeah, valid.
So
I get that.
10 young men claiming to be family. That's a little suspicious.
but because I've looked at some commentaries as well that talked about the spying, and I don't know, if I'm going to spy on a place, I'm not rolling 10 deep.
Right.
Right.
And coming to
this one person we about to be like
stealthy,
deep undercover. Like, you go around that way, and we'll, I guess it's ancient Near East, we'll do like fires or smoke signals or whatever to communicate.
But I wasn't there. I don't know the exact passage where, maybe it was when they were trying to find the promised land and they send I don't know how many, but it was more than one or two, and only one or two came back and said
with a good report.
Yeah, and said it was good. So it's still matching up. We send a bunch of people. Y'all, maybe they're supposed to be fitting in, but they didn't do a good job because they're not actually spies.
Yeah, well, that's what I think also, right? Something else I read is that they would have come to Egypt with all of their Semitic clothing on. But I mean, I can see it a little bit, right? But I just can't imagine if you're going to spy on something, right? For those 12 that went to spy on the land, it doesn't say that they all went to one place and asked one person about something, right? I get more of an idea that they may have gone out in little groups, maybe twos, and the two that went on their own to come back with a good report were probably together, and the rest of them were like, oh, we'll be like grasshoppers in front of them type of thing. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't say that there wasn't spying. I'm not going to foot stomp that they weren't. Well, I mean, the Bible says they say they weren't spies. We know that they weren't spies, but the accusation of Joseph, it just seems like he could have picked another group to say that about, not just 10 Semitic people walking up to get grain. Why focus on them as opposed to the onesie twosie people who can do, in my mind, more damage in terms of spying out your land? But yeah, I'm not going to foot stomp it.
I'm very interested in that though. Because he knew they were his brothers.
Yeah. So
I feel like it had to have been intentional.
Yeah.
To say like that you're a spy, like that had to have been he did that on purpose for whatever the reason may have been. I don't know. Yeah, I wonder why it was the first thing he thought about rather than, oh my God, Reuben. Like something else. Like I don't know.
But that's one thing that you brought up, Jasmine, that was awesome, and I didn't think of it because I had been seeing, and we'll see more. This like role reversal, right? And it didn't dawn on me that the first role reversal was to accuse them of being spies when they would be mad at Joseph. It seemed like, for one, being the favorite, but also two, we are introduced to Joseph by the fact that he tells on his brothers.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, and I tend to agree. That's sort of like a spying thing. And then when he sent them out to see what his brothers were doing, so when they were doing the shepherding and went out to Dothan, it's like,
yeah, maybe a parallel, maybe not.
There is a parallel, and it sort of works because we see some other things that happen as well. All right, anything else on these verses here? Genesis 42, verses 10 through 14. It reads as follows. They said to him, "No, my lord, your servants have come to buy food. We are all sons of one man. We are honest men. Your servants have never been spies." He said to them, "No, it is the nakedness of the land that you have come to see." And they said, "We, your servants, are 12 brothers, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And behold, the youngest is this day with our father, and one is no more." Verse 14. But Joseph said to them, "It is as I said to you, you are spies."
This man don't got nothing else to say. Like, he's like, I'm sticking to this.
He said, "That's my story. I'm sticking to it." Wow.
It's interesting how much information they're giving unprompted. Or maybe they are being prompted and it's just not in there. But it's like, why y'all telling all y'all business? Okay, we're brothers. Yes. Why are you bringing up the one at home? Why are you bringing up the one that died? We're just 10 brothers, period.
Yeah.
And we're not spies.
I mean, I think they're scared, though.
Is that what you do when you're scared? Like, all the information I can give?
So, again, let's think about what Joseph's position in this. Joseph is the governor, and he's responsible for grain. They were sent there, and Jacob said, "So that we may live and not die." So I think situation in Canaan is pretty dire.
Yep.
In terms of food. So they like, at the beginning, they were just sort of like, no. Now I guess they're like, oh, we got to get grain. And this dude's accusing us of being spies, which means, one, it's got a position of power, and two, we may not get anything to eat. So I think that they're just like trying to spill their guts to get whatever. And they're probably
trustworthy, man.
Yeah, like, his trust.
Trust me, I'm telling you everything.
I'm telling you everything I have, and I need to buy grain. Yeah. And that's my take on it.
100%. That's what I was gonna say. I think they were just trying to earn trust.
Yeah.
Give him everything you got. Give him your life story. Hopefully that earns his trust. And if not, we'll see what happens. But I just think that they had nothing else at their disposal. Like, you have nothing to give him. Yep. He doesn't believe you. You need what he has. So do what you can with what you got.
I felt like they were kids again. No, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. Yes, I am. Like just back and forth, like you were saying, boy. It's like, I'm doubling down. I'm standing 10 toes down in this spy thing. Yeah. And I also thought it was interesting. Let me know what you all think. That I also wonder if this shows the slickness. I don't want to say conniving, but the thoughtfulness, the way Joseph thinks, because he says he's recognized them. We see that in the beginning, right? He recognized his brothers, but his brothers don't recognize who he is. So I wonder if him doing this, trying to get this information out of them, is sort of cementing the fact that, oh yeah, these are
the
brothers. These are my brothers. They said they came from the land of Canaan. Okay, that makes sense. Now they're telling me that they have, they're 12 brothers in total. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So I wonder if some of this is just information gathering that Joseph is doing, and he's figured he can do this by accusing them of something.
like to prove that, or to like validate these are the correct people. I'm not tripping.
Right, because it's been over 20 years.
Yeah.
And when I see, I forgot I was looking at something. When I see the kid picturing and the adult picturing, they in the same thing. I go, oh yeah, I see the. But sometimes I see people and this 20 years later, and I'm like, I think this is you, but I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there was some information gathering that he was doing here as well.
That was a major light bulb. I'm gonna speak to that after we do the next set. That I tend to agree with that.
So anything else on verses 10 to 14? I do have one other thing.
What is it?
Why they lying? Why they saying they honest, man?
Yeah, right.
They're trying to be.
They're trying to, because they desperate.
Exactly, because they need something.
Joseph probably heard that, like,
now you know you lying.
Y'all can't be serious. Honest men.
Honest, really?
But that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, minus the Tamar thing.
Right, that Tamar thing happened.
And whatever else has happened.
Yeah.
But
maybe they changed.
Maybe. And I think as we continue through this, we'll see that change.
Yeah.
But right now, for them to call themselves honest, I was like,
how dare you?
and back to the spy thing from Joseph, I was like, dude, why you gotta be lying? Because you're being a little disingenuous now. You know they aren't spies; they're your brothers, and you know this. But you want to accuse them of that? You could probably done something else. But
yeah, pettiness.
And the last thing before we move on, how do we, as believers, deal with our emotions and still honor God? Right, because I think that's some of the tension that's happening here, right?
Yeah.
Is that we have been looking at Joseph through this whole time. And we and I think as a collective, we've come to this idea that Joseph, he wasn't bratty as much as he was naive.
Right.
Right? He wasn't being, this really bad kid as much as he was trying to do the right things and just didn't know how to go about telling people some things, or when to hold things back and when to let things go. He was just naive.
Yeah.
We've seen Joseph be the one who calls out to God, right? Yeah. I can't do this wickedness. One, it's against, my master, talking to Potiphar's wife. And for two, it's a sin against God, right? The dreams, it's not that I have any validation, or God gives interpretation to the dreams. It's not me. But here, and you mentioned it earlier, we see him going out of character. It's like you were like, Joseph, how could you? I think it's like you said, I've seen Joseph be this upstanding man in God, and now he's doing something that's petty. I want to get you back. How much of that is emotion, and how do we deal with that as believers?
I think it's hard. I feel like I lean towards petty.
The first step is to recognize, and that's okay.
Yeah. And so, we can't say he's not sinning. And does he see himself as sinning against God in this situation?
Good question.
Is he even thinking about God in this situation?
Right.
Because a lot of things are happening for him right now in this moment, and he's just reacting.
Yeah.
And trying to also save face. Like, I need to react, but I also need to not blow up my spot because I'm still being watched. I'm still in Egypt. This is not like, it's not just me and my brothers and I can just do whatever.
Right.
There's other people here, and I don't necessarily need to be tied to them because I am now an Egyptian official. So what can I do to still, show some power? But I don't think in this situation he's thinking about God.
Yeah.
And I did hear it was a podcast, I think. And they were like, Joseph was so smart. He was working in like God was working through him in giving him the reasoning to not speak his language and to not and show himself to his brothers. And I'm like, that is not God. That is not God, because he's lying. Like, he's blatantly lying. And it's not, because I think back in the Tamar episode, I was like, she's not in this world where she's following their God necessarily. So I gave her a pass. Joseph doesn't get that same pass because we've seen that God has been with him along his whole journey.
Right.
So you don't get the pass that she got.
Yeah.
And sometimes we fall. Like, this is an example of Joseph falling. We've seen him like just suffer through and just be like, it is what it is. It is what it is. Like,
right. Yeah.
He gets a chance to be, I feel like he not deserves, but we should show him the same grace, because if any of us would have been in the same situation, we would have been like, nah, I'm done.
Yeah. I hear you. I tend to think along the same lines.
I must be the outlier.
Okay.
Because I was going back and forth this morning because, like I said, I was like, Joseph, I'm appalled because the behavior is not aligning with the character that you've shown us all this time, and like your relationship with God. I would think you would handle the situation differently. However, the commentary I saw said that it was talking about how God is working through him by allowing his brothers to feel the guilt of their actions. And because later we'll see like how they blame God for it or whatever. But I was like, okay, I can kind of see that. It's like they said they were basically the Lord was using Joseph to bestow the appropriate guilt on them for not repenting for their sins. So I was like, okay, I guess I could kind of see that. But now that you mentioned that's not God, I'm like, okay, now I'm confused.
To me, I don't feel like that's God. But maybe you can help us, Chris, because I don't think God orchestrates for us to do bad. Right?
Okay.
Yeah,
so
completely agree.
Okay.
Completely agree.
Okay.
God, we sin, but we ain't gonna blame God for
right.
We lie. We do the stuff that Judah did with Tamar, right? But and we still say we follow God, but we don't get to blame God. That's back to that responsibility thing.
Yeah.
Right. We're responsible for our actions. And then to say that, to say what and I'm not trying to poo-poo the commentary, but God, and we've seen this already, God uses bad actions, sin, to still get his purpose accomplished.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen that through here. So just because Joseph is doing something outside of what God would want us to do, right? Thou shalt not lie.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean that God can't use it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't necessarily say that God is causing Joseph to do this thing that goes against who he is to get some response.
The only thing, now that you're saying it, the only thing I can think of is when the Bible says that God hardened someone's heart, and right. They said he's doing that. So I don't know if that's then like a contradiction to what we're saying.
No, I don't think that's Exodus. That's where you see that a lot. And I don't think that's how do I say this? I don't think it's a contradiction because it's already there in Pharaoh, right? It's the way that I've always read it. And when we went through our Exodus series not too long ago, it is that God is presenting opportunities for Pharaoh to respond in a way that Pharaoh is going to respond, not believing in God. God is putting things in Pharaoh's way. He's doing these trials and then easing them up to get a response from Pharaoh that would align. So I know it says that God hardened his heart, and we can't turn away from that because it also says that, God can sway the hearts of kings and things of that nature, but he's not causing Pharaoh to be mean, right? To keep the slaves, to say, I'm going to let them go, and say, I'm not going to let them go, to be harsher towards them, in the sense that he's actually moving Pharaoh's hand, but he's presenting the opportunities for Pharaoh to respond that way. That's how I've always looked at it. Okay. And when it says that God hardens his heart, it's, those opportunities are presented, and then Pharaoh responds the way that God expects for him to respond.
Oh my gosh, this is so confusing because I'm still grappling with the lie, because is it a lie?
You don't think it is?
I don't know. I don't know if he believes that
Jasmine, you're a spy. Is that true?
No.
Okay.
But
okay.
Oh my gosh, I'm having such a hard time because I just feel like I really don't. I guess I didn't see it as a lie because, for one, I don't think that Joseph believes it, and I think when he's saying that you're a spy, I don't think he's saying it's hard to explain. Not like you're a spy. Like, I know legit you are. You have, you're underneath these clothing. You're coming just to get information or report back to your master, whatever. I don't think it's like that. I feel like it's like metaphorical. It's like it's hard for me to explain. But I don't know. I didn't see it as a lie. I'm still having a hard time aligning those two. Not that I don't believe it. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not understanding how it aligns.
Yeah, that's valid. I mean, I look at it as a lie just because it's not true, and he knows it's not true. I mean, because I mean, that's what a lie is, right? It's not that I don't see, because it says that Joseph recognized them, so I don't see any plausible deniability, right? Like, oh, this is something that I really believe to be true, and I could just be mistaken.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
This is something, I see them, I recognize them. They're my brothers, but I'm going to call them spies.
Okay.
That's a little much for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring it up is because what I think, and we've touched on it, is what's happening is he's, just as you mentioned, going through this range of emotions.
Yeah.
From I'm about to get him back and be petty to oh, how I miss my brothers.
Yeah.
And although I found it interesting that in the last episode we talked about him naming his kids, and one of them was about forgetting his past. Yeah. And now his past is right back in front of him.
Yeah.
Right? And they're in need. And I'm sure is thinking, because it's been 20 plus years that they have families, as we mentioned before. And my dad is still out there, and my brother from my mother is still out there, not just these 10. And so I think he's just going through a lot.
Yeah. I can see that.
And I think that's why I brought up the question about how do we deal with emotions and still walk with God, because I think it can be hard. It can be overwhelming. It can take you and then you're caught up so much in the emotion that you maybe aren't thinking. You aren't. And I think it happens to the best of us. But we just have to, I think it's hard to do when you're in the moment, but somehow you've just got to calm yourself. Maybe. If I can say that 5 more times. That's why we need to be in our scriptures so much, so that when those things happen, we have a place to turn, and our emotions are tempered by the word of God, as opposed to reacting to it. Okay. And again, and you said it best, we need to show the same grace to Joseph as we've shown to Tamar and even the others, because I don't think we've seen Joseph's plight, but we don't hold his brothers in a really, I think we're willing to show them grace.
Yeah.
So we have to show that grace to Joseph. And on the scale of things, in my mind, it's like, but at the same token, it's still wrong. And I think it's just because he's emotional.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean.
And I had a hard time with why are you doing this? Why are you You know they're not spies. Why you call them spies?
And I'm like, do more.
That's the theme for the day.
Do more.
Like, more.
Maybe because I have brothers and I'm just like, I wish y'all would.
Oh, man. Is there anything else there?
You know, this is random a little bit. We were talking about, and maybe I should save it to the end, but maybe I'll start it off here.
Okay.
Have y'all watched Encanto and you have Bruno who had the visions and things? Because you mentioned how Joseph had the dreams, and people didn't want to hear it in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, now people are seeking him out. And it kind of reminds me of that story. Like, they don't want to talk about Bruno because Bruno, when he talks, he's giving his visions and he's saying, this is going to happen to you. And then it happens. And people are like, he always predicts bad stuff, or
Right.
he always predicts things that we don't want.
Right.
And then at the end of the story, they need him in order to save the family or whatever.
Ooh.
And so they're like, where's Bruno? And they're looking for Bruno. And he's like, he's been hiding. He's been away because you guys chastised him hid him, or he hid himself because he was trying to protect his family from himself.
Right.
So, but it was because of them that he left. And now they're seeking him out, and he ends up, doing whatever his vision was, and he's able to save the family. And it's the same, like, that's Joseph's story. Y'all just taking Joseph's story. But yeah, I think they had a bunch of siblings too, where it was like all the siblings had different powers and things like that, or all the family had powers and things. But Bruno had the visions, and people didn't want to hear it. Like, they were like, no. Sit down, Bruno. Don't even talk about him.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's crazy. I never saw that parallel.
Yeah, I should have saved that for the end, but
no,
it came up just because I was like, oh, why is this Encanto?
Encanto. I'm going to have to find that and watch it.
Oh, it's good.
Yes,
it is.
Is it Disney? I think it's Disney.
Yeah, it is.
Cool. Is that an animated thing?
Yeah.
It's good, though.
No, really good.
I mean, it's a lot of singing, but it's great.
Oh, jeez. I'll watch it. Yes, just because it's Disney. You owe us for a plug.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Okay, Genesis 42, 15 through 20. Okay, starting at verse 15. By this you shall be tested, by the life of Pharaoh. You shall not go from this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of you and let them bring your brother, while you remain confined, and your words may be tested, whether there is truth in you. Or else, by the life of Pharaoh, surely you are spies. And he put them all together in custody for 3 days. On the third day, Joseph said to them, do this and you will live, for I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers remain confined where you are in custody, and let the rest go and carry grain for the famine of your households. And bring your youngest brother to me, so your words will be verified, and you shall not die. And they did so.
Awesome. So he tells them to go back, but he also says on the life of Pharaoh. So it's almost like he's making an oath on Pharaoh right now, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, I thought so too.
It's weird. Yeah, I was like, why go there? But
I think he's showing his power. Like,
maybe that's a good point.
I have the power to kill you.
Yeah.
On Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, don't try me.
And that's good, because that goes back to the original governor and position thing that he's got when they come in.
Yeah, he has that signet.
That's good.
And on Pharaoh, you can die. Just want y'all to know.
I love that. It's so real world applicable.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? That's wild. That's wild. So the test. Anything stand out to you all about the test? About what he wants them to do?
Yes. Okay. So this is where I wanted to go back to when you said he was information gathering. Okay. So I was thinking, and I was reading the commentaries and trying to like put these things together. So you know how like they treated him really bad when he was younger, and Benjamin is they're all his brothers, but that's his brother from his mother, right? Yeah. So, okay, you have my youngest brother still there. I need to make sure that you're treating him better than you treated me, or make sure he's still alive, make sure all these things are true. So, and I was thinking when he was asking them, like when they were giving all this information, he was taking it in like, okay, all right, like running through, okay, so you guys, one commentary said that he was trying to figure out if they were still sinners, like if they were still living in that kind of life that they were 20 years ago. And I guess I can see that, but also making sure that his family, like his dad, his youngest brother, were still okay. The brothers hadn't done anything to them, or, they were still being stupid. And I think this fits perfectly. I think that was the test, like making sure that, seeing if they had changed their behavior, seeing if they may have come to God, like stopped being horrible people. Like I feel like that's what it was. And I was okay, I can see that. Just let me make sure that my family is okay. And as we know, he recognized his brothers. He knew who they are. So he knew the youngest brother they were bringing back was Benjamin. So everything just felt very intentional.
Yeah. Completely agree. You got anything else on that, Moyo?
Yeah, I mean, the same. Like, he's trying to make sure that Benjamin is still alive and is not basically in the same position he was in. And I think he knows his dad. If I'm gone, Benjamin is the next favorite. So are y'all still jealous? Do you guys still harbor that hatred towards him? I mean, they may not have even worried about Benjamin before, but now Joseph is gone. Somebody else is the favorite.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think he's worried about his brother, and I need to put eyes on him.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. There's one other part that I think is interesting in here, and it's the fact that he put him in jail.
Oh, yeah.
He put him in. So, which is why I got so excited about the spies and the correlation between what happened in Joseph's life. It's like, when I saw that, I was like, Joseph is giving them a little taste of what he went through.
Yeah.
And I think there's this whole role reversal thing going on. Because we all know Joseph was in jail, and he was in jail for at least 7 years, I think. No, at least 2 years. 2 years.
At least two, but some before that.
Some before that, right? Because he didn't get to go before. It was 2 years later when he got to go before Pharaoh. And so he's like, it's almost like he's giving them a taste of what he had to go through. Even to the point, if you remember back to when Joseph told them the dreams, and they would say things like, are we to serve you? Are we to bow down to our younger brother? And how do they refer to themselves in the verses we read before? Your servant. Your servant. We just came to get grain. We are your servants, Lord. Right? So it's almost like I'm seeing this role reversal where Joseph was the one who was weak, air quotes, picked on, right? And his brothers had some power over him. Now it's that role reversal is happening. And even to the point of calling them spies, which I think is a good one, and now putting them in jail for 3 days.
And it's when you say little taste, for sure, little taste, because y'all was in here for 3 days, and I was in there for over 2 years. That is crazy.
That is crazy.
And then making them leave, it was Simon.
Yeah, I don't think we read that part yet.
Okay.
He started off saying one person,
one person,
Then he was like, okay, one person stay.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know why he changed. Like, why did he change, or we just don't know?
Yeah, I think that's after we.
That's the next bout.
No, you're right. It's right there
in this section. Yeah.
On the third day, Joseph said to them, "Do this, and you will live. For I fear God." I think he had a come to Jesus moment. You know what I mean?
Like, I can't keep all of them here.
I can't be doing that, because what does that mean? That only one person can carry food back for everyone else.
Right.
They all got families and stuff, right? And I don't need to get them to come back and to really test, right, whether they have changed or not. Maybe I don't need to keep all of them, because who knows what that'll do to my dad if all 10, if the other 9, if only one comes back of the 10, he'll definitely be pulling his hair out what he has left. But I think it's just that because I fear God, I think it's saying, I've had that moment. I'm realizing that, I could show a little more grace, but I'm still trying to make sure that Benjamin and my dad are okay, that you all aren't, doing shady stuff out there.
I also think that because the commentary I read said that he didn't say that he too fears God, because he's kind of relating it back to how they left him to die initially, and then they wind up selling him or whatever. But it's like making that contrast, like I'm not like you, or like I'm not gonna do what you did to me. This is like showing you grace.
Okay.
And I thought that was interesting because again, it just goes back to he's just giving them a taste to see, like this is what I had to deal with. How does this feel?
How does it feel? Yeah. Yep.
I took I fear God as like I'm promising that if you do what I'm saying, that I won't go against my word. Yeah. But I like what you said as well, about it just being like, I fear God, so I'm not gonna treat y'all like this.
Yeah. Genesis 42 verses 21 through 26. Okay. Yes. Then they said to one another, "In truth, we are all guilty concerning our brother, in that we saw the distress of his soul when he begged us, and we did not listen. That is why this distress has come upon us." And Reuben answered them, Did I not tell you not to sin against the boy? But you did not listen. So now there comes a reckoning for his blood. They did not know that Joseph understood them, for there was an interpreter between them. Then he turned away from them and wept. And he returned to them and spoke to them. And he took Simon from them and bound him before their eyes. And Joseph gave orders to fill their bags with grain, and to replace every man's money in his sack, and to give them provisions for the journey. This was done for them. Then they loaded their donkeys with their grain and departed.
There's a lot.
Right. First of all, Reuben.
What's up with you and Reuben? First it was all on Reuben.
I know.
I like Reuben.
I did, but then because I was like, initially, I liked that he was like, okay, let's not kill him.
Right.
You know, like let's put at least they put him in the pit and it saved his life, right? But and then he was going to come back for him, even though it was like, okay, he was gone. But I'm kind of feeling like Reuben is kind of like trying to wash his hands of this. Like, didn't I tell y'all?
But he did, though.
He did, but still, you did not. He was the oldest, and the oldest was responsible. So I feel like he should have done more. And now you're trying to pawn all the responsibility off on your brothers. You're the oldest, and as the oldest sibling, my mom would always tell me, first of all, you're responsible for your younger sister. And I was like, okay, oh my God, as much as I hate that if she do something, then it falls back on me. Regardless, you're the oldest sibling. You have to take responsibility because in my absence, you fulfill my role. That's what my mom used to tell me. Ooh, wow. So, yeah, I'm looking at Reuben like, sir, don't just, yeah, they didn't listen. You tried to tell them not to kill him, but you still played a part in this because you should have done more.
I don't know. I feel like to some degree, again, you are leading your siblings, right? But there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
And I told you not to do that.
You've been on this.
I'm heavy on, I told you. Because when I used to get in trouble back in the day for my siblings, just know I'm about to fight. Because I told you not to do it. And now I'm getting beat because you ain't want to listen. So yes, I told you and you didn't listen. And now because he didn't say, he said, and so now there comes a reckoning for his blood. He didn't take himself out of it. He's just saying, we wouldn't be here if y'all just listened to me.
Yeah.
All y'all had to do was listen. And I don't know if he feels like Joseph is dead. Because he's saying a reckoning for his blood as if he believes Joseph is actually dead.
Yeah.
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 I think they think Joseph is dead. That's why they said, and one is no more.
Yeah.
Interesting. But why? Well, I know they sold him into slavery, but why do they feel like he's dead? I guess
20
years, right? That's what I thought.
Oh no, I don't know. I guess because I know he's alive, I'm like, dang, we just go kill him all.
We get to follow him, but remember what they brought back to their dad.
But they knew that was fake.
They knew it was fake, but it's been. I can't imagine. This passage and one is no more make me think that they believe that Joseph is dead.
Yeah, I had the same thought. That they think he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't get around thinking that's what they believe.
Yeah.
How could they think they sold him into slavery?
So I think to Morio's point is, they sold him into slavery, and he could be living somewhere as a slave for 20 years and not be dead.
But maybe they're saying that's not realistic.
I was gonna say, is that realistic in this time? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know enough to say it is or isn't, but I can't imagine, depending on the type of slave you were, that you would have an extremely long lifespan.
20 years. What do you guys think about him keeping just Simon?
Simeon. Yeah. I think that was just so that he would have some insurance that they would come back.
But why him?
I don't know. I really don't know. When I think of Simeon, I think of him and Levi and what they did to Shechem. Right. But beside that, I don't have much data on Simeon. I don't. So I'm not sure why he chose them. I think he may have my initial thought was he probably just chose someone because initially he said, you all choose the one to go back. And I think maybe he's just relieving them of that duty and just saying, you're going to stay here.
Or maybe they did pick, because this says he took Simeon. So is that who they decided on?
I don't know.
This commentary,
they decided, or if Joseph chose.
The commentary I read said that Simeon was the second son of Leah, and Reuben, as the oldest, had the responsibility to take care of his brothers. But since he said, they speculate that Reuben, that Joseph overheard Reuben trying to fight on his behalf, so the onus fell on the second oldest son, which is why he took him instead of Reuben or somebody else. Which is, it's possible. Yeah. But again, I dug into this a little bit, and then I was like, again, I don't want to start reaching for stuff that's not there. So
yeah. What about the information we get about Joseph in the pit?
That he begged for his life, which I think we said in the beginning that he was kind of just letting things happening to him. And now we're seeing maybe not. Maybe he tried to fight. He tried to beg. He tried to plead. Yeah. And they just didn't care, which is even crazier. It's actually very sad.
It is. Yeah. It is.
How can you see that and just go through with it anyway?
Yeah. It one of my notes was, this is the second in my mind, and we can talk about the first and related to that. But this is the second time that we see the Joseph and the turmoil that he's in. The first time it's not overt, right? The first time I think is when he talks to the cupbearer and says, basically, get me out of here. Yeah. I don't belong in here. I didn't do anything wrong. But this is worse. And you're right. It's just like, man, this just hit me, because it's like we saw his distressed soul. Can you imagine?
I can't.
I mean, and take it back to the cupbearer and the baker, and Joseph saw them being troubled. Yeah. And here they're saying, we saw his distress. Since we saw him in his distress and didn't respond. He begged to come out. So what this told me about Joseph is that, as much as we read through this, and you hit the nail exactly on the head, Moya, we sort of went through this like, Joseph, he's just taking it. He knows God is, but Joseph really is like, man, I'm hurting.
Yeah.
My own brothers put me into this place.
Yeah.
And I begged and pleaded to get out. I can imagine you're in the pit and you're like, what are y'all doing to me? Get me out of here. What are you doing? Why am I in this pit? And so I don't think that it was just Joseph going with the flow.
Yeah.
He was actually fighting and trying to do what he could to not be in certain situations, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time that we really get insight, in my mind, into his actions,
mm-hmm.
especially on that day.
I also thought it was interesting that he wept.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to, like, as I was going through the commentary and they were talking about like his anger and everything, I was like, okay, is he angry or is he sad or is it all of it? Or like, does he want to be doing this to his brothers? Does he want to be being petty and
Mm-hmm.
giving to them what he received? Or is this like, he's so hurt by it that, okay, these things are happening because he's acting out of emotion, but he wants to be different. And then when we saw that he wept, I was like, okay, maybe that's his like, oh, I can't do this. Like, like I'm actually sad. Like I want to have this good relationship with my brothers, but I don't know if he feels like he has to, or is this is just him acting out of his sheer anger of how they treated him.
I feel like this might be the first time he's seeing any sort of them recognizing the fact that they've wronged him. Like for somebody to finally admit that they don't know it's him, they're just talking. So it's like they haven't forgot about me. They regret doing what they did, not necessarily because they regret it, but because now it's coming back.
Right.
So they've been thinking about this. So for 20 years, y'all haven't forgot what y'all have done to me.
Crazy.
And he's like, he might have thought, because we were again naming his sons, let me forget about that part of my life. And he's like, oh, wait a minute. They did forget about me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't just thrown away. They still have me in their mind. Like
It's sad.
It's sad. And he's crying because it's sad.
Yeah. Man, this was just this
reunion
part.
is terrible. I know. Like the saddest reunion ever.
I know. It is. So, anything else there?
The money.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. I was like, obviously it was on purpose, but, well, I saw it as being on purpose because the way I would be if I was Joseph, it's like, all right, I know you're my brothers. You need the grain. I'm not going to take your money. Like, I understand what's going on. I know the circumstances, and I'm curious to know, like, how the brothers took it. Like, if it's like, oh, he gave us.
Well, they did talk about it in a minute.
Actually, in this next set of verses.
Yeah.
Verses 27 to 35, Genesis chapter 42. And they read as follows. And as one of them opened his sack to give his donkey fodder at the lodging place, he saw his money in the mouth of the sack. He said to his brothers, my money has been put back. Here it is in the mouth of my sack. At this, their hearts failed them, and they turned trembling to one another, saying, what is this that God has done to us? When they came to Jacob, their father, in the land of Canaan, they told him all that had happened to them, saying, the man, the Lord of the land, spoke roughly to us and took us to be spies of the land. But we said to him, we are honest men. We have never been spies. We are 12 brothers, sons of our father. One is no more, and the youngest is this day with our father in the land of Canaan. Then the man, the Lord of the land, said to us, by this I shall know that you are honest men. Leave one of your brothers with me, and take grain for the famine of your households, and go your way. Bring your youngest brother to me. Then I shall know that you are not spies, but honest men, and I will deliver your brother to you, and you shall trade in the land.
35.
And they emptied their sacks. Behold, every man's bundle of money was in his sack, and when they and their father saw their bundles of money, they were afraid. So, there goes the money talk.
Yep. They like, somebody is setting us up. Why would you do this?
That's so that, because I was like, why are they afraid? Because they think that people are going to think they stole it?
Yes.
Oh.
They're like, we didn't pay for all this food. It's like, we gave them the money. Why is our money in here?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening? They're like, God, what are you doing? Isn't this that? You to die, right? You want us to never go back there.
Right.
Because how are we going to go back?
They're right. In their mind, they can't.
And they need to go back for food. This famine is not a short famine. No, so
7 years.
Yeah, their hearts dropped. Like,
so was leaving the money in there intentional in a good way or a bad way?
Good question.
I don't know. I feel like it was to me, I thought it was good intentions.
I took it as good intentions, but now I'm questioning.
But I think that he didn't tell them, so he just told. I mean, he told the people to put it back in there.
Yeah,
and I don't know. Maybe it was like both. Maybe if y'all don't come back, I'll be like, and y'all stole. And if y'all do come back, it's like, all right, they're good peoples.
Okay.
I think it was good intention. I don't know if Joseph could have anticipated their response to seeing the money.
Right.
But their response is crazy and hilarious. In a sense,
nonetheless. I would have been scared too. Like, oh my gosh.
Right.
I got to give it back.
Yeah, it's like when you go to the grocery store and you don't pay for something by accident. And you're like, oh, they didn't scan this.
Yes.
Or am I a thief now?
Or when they give you too much change back and you have to like decide, oh, okay, you get home and you have the same amount of money you went in with. Like, somebody messed up.
So, true story. Wife ordered a TV from Walmart. Did the whole delivery thing. Yeah, delivery thing, right? But she got impatient. She went and said, I bought this TV because it was supposed to be, it didn't come when she expected it to. I bought this TV. So can I pick my TV up now? And they said, yeah. Right? So Lord. She brings the TV home. We unpack it. They're like, okay, cool. Next thing you know, another TV.
They deliver the TV.
Oh.
And it's like, do we keep it?
Right.
Or do we send it back?
All the good people, huh?
Do we keep it?
I know, right?
We sent it back.
You would have kept it.
We
sent it back. I'm like, look at God.
I grapple with that so much. I had similar. I was at Marshall's and it was a guy. He was kind of flustered. I was buying some stuff. I had $100 bill. Gave it to him. My stuff was about like $30. He gave me $100 back. I didn't realize. Folded the money up, put it away, got in the car, was counting. I was like, I gave him $100 and he gave me $100 back. No, that doesn't. And we were driving off. I was like, oh, I feel so bad.
Did you go back?
I went back and I gave him
better than me. Am I a bad person? Because people send me to something, I'm keeping it. I'm like, yes, thank you. Actually, I needed this. That happened when someone ordered us the crib mattresses, and I only had one kid at the time. Mm-hmm. But I had my next kid like right after, so I was like, see, no,
God knew.
No,
yeah.
No, when I was working at the bank, I accidentally gave somebody, like, they did box of coins, and I think I was supposed to give them a box of pennies, a box of nickels, a box of dimes, or something like that, and I accidentally gave maybe a box of quarters.
Right.
And that's not a little bit of money in these boxes. Yeah. And the person was like, I think he left with it and then came back like, I know you're new, so I'm going to give this back to you. I was like, thank you, because my drawer would have been
real short.
They'd have been like, what happened to our money? But he came back and brought it.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I should probably do the same, but I don't.
That's why I'm thinking like, okay, so like if I was in these brothers' shoes, I'd be like, ooh, my conscience would eat me up. I'm like, okay, so what do we do now? Do we take it back? Do we keep it? Was this his this was like an olive branch, you know? Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just wild. And they were afraid, their hearts departed. I mean, they're just going through, maybe it was sort of on purpose to get them to go through all the turmoil that he was in terms of Joseph. But yeah, I think Joseph meant well.
I hope so.
Yeah. Some of y'all goodness will rub off on me. Don't worry.
That's all right.
I'm gonna come back on here in like 2 years and be like, so somebody sent me this. I found $1,000 and I looked for the owner. You're gonna be like, wow, we're so proud of you.
So proud.
Don't let me find $1,000. You can have the license, somebody license on it and be like,
Oh.
So all the comments are gonna be like, "I'm with you, more, yo."
Yeah, I know. Ain't nobody gonna agree with this. No.
Yeah,
Oh man,
that's funny.
and I have to be honest. Nike did send me 2 pair of Jordans one time.
You
and
kept
I didn't
it.
send them back.
Hey, shoot. That's somebody else's
Comes
mistake.
out, huh?
I'm sorry. I guess I'm just pickier with when I'm
Right.
The shoes. I mean, the TV. I would have kept the TV over the shoes. What you need 2 pair of shoes for?
Right. Agreed.
Because you need one to stock and one to rock.
I'm stealing that. That is
funny.
That's funny.
All right.
You haven't heard that before?
No.
It's like a sneakerhead thing. You get 2 shoes, and get one to stock and one to rock. So one I don't wear, but one I wear on a regular basis.
Interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I gave them to my son though.
Oh.
But anyway. I might get in trouble. If you see this Nike, and then I owe you some money. So.
I don't owe you nothing.
Anything else on those couple verses? I think it really just comes down to there's money there, and you see what happened with them, and they were afraid.
Yeah.
The last set of verses, Genesis chapter 42, verses 36 through 38.
Yes. And Jacob, their father, said to them, "You have bereaved me of my children. Joseph is no more, and Simeon is no more, and now you would take Benjamin? All this has come against me." Then Reuben said to his father, "Kill my 2 sons if I do not bring him back to you. Put him in my hands, and I will bring him back to you." But he said, "My son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is the only one left. If harm should happen to him on the journey that you are to make, you would bring down my gray hairs and sorrow to Sheol."
Mm-hmm.
Man, what's up with your boy Reuben, though? For real?
I'm telling
You
you.
don't give up your grandbabies. He's like, and no, like that's not even a thing. He literally was like, "Kill my sons." Anyways, no, you cannot have kids. What?
Like Reuben.
I feel he feels guilt. He feels real. I feel like Reuben feels guilty, as he should. I mean, I don't know. So, well, he tried, I guess, but yes, it's like when somebody says like, "Oh, my mama, like strike my mama down right now," whatever. If something would have happened, right? That is what he's saying. Listen, take my sons. If I don't come back, I'm gonna come. He's gonna come back.
And which 2 sons you gonna pick? Because he had more than 2 sons.
Yeah, 4.
Like,
My least favorite.
no, it got to be your favorites if that's the bargain.
Man, Reuben gives me the vibes like the person that always wants to be seen as doing right.
I was thinking that too. Yeah, I think so. I mean? Yep.
Like when you're at work and the person that whenever somebody speaks is always like, "Oh yeah, no, I know the answer, and we can do this and that and that." And,
uh-huh.
And you just be like, "Yo, chill." I get it. You smart.
Right.
He just gives me that energy, even when he was like, "I told y'all."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, right? Because you do have that as an older sibling, and I had to do that once with my dad. I was like, "Look, my brother, your youngest son, is way too big for me to try and keep him from doing stuff. He's going to do it now just because he can."
Right.
But I take that and pair it with this, and I'm like, "Reuben, bruh, you is like you just want to be important, don't you?"
Yeah, I can kind of see that too.
You just want to be the man.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like he wants to do. I feel like, you know how Joseph, he would always like be talking, and you're like, he wants to do what is right by God, and we're like, "Joseph, time and place, hush." I feel like Reuben is kind of wanting to do the right thing, but it's like it's like too much. Like you're doing just a little bit too much. But I feel like he's doing it out of like extreme guilty conscience.
Mm-hmm.
As all of the brothers should feel the same guilty conscience because they all took part. But as the oldest sibling, like I feel like he feels like the onus is on him. So he's putting up his children, 2 of his children, as collateral.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's crazy.
Reuben is irritating.
Like, nah, if I don't come back, kill your grandkids. What?
That's crazy.
That's what you're saying, boy. It doesn't make no sense.
It doesn't. He didn't even acknowledge it. He was just like,
right.
Please.
Hush. Like, hush, boy, no.
Gone with you. I mean, you're not going. So the only way that Simeon comes back is if Benjamin goes down.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I guess we'll just have to see what happens, folks.
I know. Yeah. Stay tuned, to be continued.
Any last thoughts on this chapter?
Everybody watching Kanto, and let me know if you find the parallels.
I'm going to watch
yes.
Kanto.
This was a good chapter. I was looking at Joseph sideways, like, I'm very disappointed in you, sir. But I always felt like Joseph had a good heart. Like, he meant well, and I feel like everything that he's, other than the money thing, I'm not sure. I hope that it was done with good intentions, but everything comes full circle, and I think he does it for the glory of God, because he's proven to have done that all of this time.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate his brothers are reaping what they sowed.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't read ahead, so like I read the chapter we're going to be on, so I don't like have guilty knowledge. So I'm curious. I want to see how this plays out as we move forward.
Cool.
Yeah.
Maria, you got anything?
No, I should have kept my thing
Encanto
for the end,
story?
but know, it's fine.
You can tell the Encanto story again.
No, I'm not going to. But yeah,
we're gonna watch
think
it.
I think it when I used to watch the Bible binge, and they would like mix in different they would mix in like movies and shows and TV and stuff like that, and I'd be like, wow, it's so crazy how a lot of things kind of derive from the Bible.
Yeah.
And nothing is really brand new.
No.
So
nothing new under the sun.
Yeah. Yep. That I've also picked on that. Movies, The Matrix, you can relate back to Jesus somehow. It's just like all of these parallels, and it is truth, the scriptures, but it's also just a really good story about life, right? And I think that one takeaway that I have from this is just the reversal of fortune, right?
Yeah.
Just now, just like we said in the last episode, started from the bottom. Now we're here. Now that Joseph is here, his brothers don't have the rule, the power over him that they once did. And so now everything is sort of shifted around.
Yeah.
So I am also eager to see what happens next.
Remember.
Yep. All right, folks. Another awesome
good.
job.
That was a great
as always. We can sign off.
Yes.
Deuces. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all that
And
other comment stuff that you do on the social interwebs.
Sounding like
Do
a
all
real
that.
Gen Xer. Deuces.